What's up, y'all? And welcome back to Dad Needs to Talk. I'm your host, Robert, and today we're going to talk through our feelings, my feelings, on Blood on the Tracks. So, I just read through basically volumes, or would it be 9 through 11, which would have ended on chapter 98. So, why Mr. Oshimi was Was this face not enough for you? Was this one not enough for you? Many of y'all remember when I did my first review on Blood on the Tracks back on Mother's Day, and I read through volumes 1 through 8. I had mentioned how this face just kind of always stuck with me back when I first picked up the manga, months and months before I even read it. And so I finally dived in or whatever, and as I read through these chapters, especially in like the back half of this stretch or whatever, lots of awesome panels, lots of ones that just was just like, wow, that looks really cool. But Mr. Oshimi, did you really have to do this? Did you really have to give us the same face of mother and son? Why? Why did you do this? But so the lead up to that face and everything that happened afterwards was very interesting because, as y'all may remember, at the end of where I last left off, uh, the mom pretty much had confessed to pushing the nephew off of the cliff and almost killing him. And so we pick up where that left off, and she confesses to it, pretty much has little to no remorse. Not little, no remorse. She's just like, yep, I did it, and gets carted off to the police, and now she's in jail / going through a psych evaluation. So this leaves our boy, I always get his name wrong, Seichi, of course, with lots of mixed feelings, but eventually he kind of comes to realize that like he's his own person, makes his own decisions and stuff. And so just seeing that stretch to where he's kind of like mentally trying to overcome just all the trauma from his whole life, and also kind of like reflecting and kind of piecing together some memories that he kind of like locked away of, like, hey, when he was 3 years old and his mom freaking tossed him off of a cliff or down a hill, I guess, whatever. But still, it was just like, wow, his memory had kind of like locked that away. And so just seeing him go through that, and then like him reconnecting with his girlfriend, I'll call her his girlfriend, but the girl he likes. And then of course the dad, he's kind of in a tough spot or whatever. But he's still just going to work and stuff, and just kind of just leaving Seichi by himself, just being like, hey, you know what? You don't have to go to school. You can kind of just chill, do what you need to do to get yourself together. So we go through all that stuff, whatever. And of course, there's lots of police interrogations and stuff in between. But things kind of started to ramp up again when, of course, the police come. They take him to the scene of the crime, and they kind of get him to like recreate and go through the moments and motions and all that stuff, whatever. And then a little bit later on, we have a moment where some days have passed or whatever, and it's starting to snow. And Seichi wakes up in the middle of the night, like 3-4 a.m. or whatever, and walks outside, just enjoying the snow, smiling on his face. And his cousin shows up, kind of not all the way there mentally, whatever, talking about like, hey, let's go back up to the mountain. And so of course Seichi's like, no, it's not safe. Let's get you inside. But his cousin didn't want to do that. His cousin just kept on walking, so he went in and followed his cousin. And thus Seichi started to have basically like an eternal struggle, where he started to see things from his mother's perspective, where he started to replay the situation of the cousin getting pushed off the cliff from his mother's perspective. And I forgot to mention, a lot of this was triggered because the lawyer or somebody had mentioned that how the mother said that she pushed the cousin because she thought that it was her son. And so that's what kind of got the wheels turning in Seiichi's mind a little bit. And so, but anywho, so we end up leading to him pushing the cousin off the side of the cliff and giving us that legendary face, this one. And so after that, we basically kind of like cut away to him waking up, and he's thinking like, man, wow, luckily that was a dream. And he's walking through his room and he passes by the jacket and notices the jacket is wet. And all of a sudden there's a knock on the door. Police and detectives there. Like, hey, so your aunt says your cousin's gone missing. Do you know anything? And he's kind of like, And they look down and they see some boots that are wet. And they're like, boots are wet? You been outside? And like, maybe? And they're like, what do you mean, maybe? And he tells them about like he had a dream and da-da-da-da. And then one of the detectives that went to his room and was like, hey, there's also a really wet jacket in your room, which means that you were outside for a while. We need to talk. And he basically tells them like what happened or whatever. And long story short, he ends up being like, okay, yep, here. They go to the location. He's like, yep, and this is where I pushed him. And they eventually find the cousin buried in the snow. And that's a wrap for our boy, because they're like, all right, so you need to come with us. And we're going to talk. And then you're going to go to juvenile for a while until, some of the stuff gets figured out or whatever. So now our boy is in juvie, which, like I said, I did not expect that. Of course, I knew there were going to be obviously some twists and turns as it has been so far with this series. But him going to juvie already? Man. And he's only, like 10, 11? No, still pretty young. At least, like, if I remember his age right, I think he's about, like, 10 or 11. Let me double check. Okay, my bad. He's 14. Or no, he's 13, about to be 14. Because I just looked in, his birthday is March 19th, 1981. And the event happened on February 10th, 1995. So yeah, so he's 13, about to be 14 in a month. So, but still, it's like, it may suck for me to say this, but it's like I had a feeling, at least just like with how wild the story is, was that like probably at some point in time he might end up going to jail, maybe because he starts doing stuff, whatever. But I didn't think it was gonna be like right now, like right after his mom goes to jail. It's just like, all right, yep. Oh, so you finished your mom's job, all right? So you gonna get locked up too. But so yeah, so that was just wild to see, in a wild spot for these volumes to kind of wrap up on. Especially because, like, as you see that reality of the situation start to set in when he's arriving at the detention center, and the guy's basically like, all right, strip down naked, all right, lift your ish up, all right, bend over, we need to inspect you, all this stuff. And he's just like, whoa. And then it's like, all right, here's your cell, here's your schedule, here's what you can and can't do, here's your lawyer, all right, we'll be back to check on you. And it's just like, man. So yeah, so I'm very curious to see like where things are going to go from here. But yeah, this was a once again nice and unpredictable stretch of chapters, which I'm kind of enjoying doing binge reading of this series, because I don't know. And shout out to y'all that have been like reading volume by volume, or even before it became a volume, those of y'all that's been reading chapter by chapter. Man, because like I said, I got to read volumes 1 through 8 in like a day or two, and now I got to read 9 through 11 today. So it's like, yeah. So, but anyway, like I said, this is just something short I wanted to put together and just to talk about. But I'm looking forward to diving back in and seeing where this insanity is going to take us. But Blood on the Tracks continues to surprise me, continues to give me some great unexpected panels, And yeah, and just all the mind games and stuff. I love that about like psychological thrillers and stuff like that. So, but anyway, that's gonna be it from me. Y'all be easy. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Y'all be easy. Peace.